Hey, Hub family. Wanted to come on here and just share some updates with you, share some things. Yeah, this may not be an easy message. This may be really hard for some people, but I feel it my duty to come on here and just be transparent, share what's been going on, and also just ask for prayer from our community. Um, it's been a really hard week. It's been a really testing week. God's tested me in ways that has been so beautiful, but also so challenging. And if you've ever been tested by the Lord, and um, it can be a beautiful thing, but also a really challenging thing. I mean, if you look at the story of Job and all the tests he went through, and then you see how at the end, God blessed him because of the testing that he endured and that he never strayed from the Lord. And so, yeah, just wanted to come on here. One of the things I have vowed since the day I started the Christian Singles Hub was to meet you all with transparency, meet you all with honor and integrity and respect. And that was always something that I said that this had to be built on was integrity. And if God wasn't in it, then I didn't want it. If it didn't glorify Him, then I wasn't going to do it. And this week was such a test to that. It was truly a test in my own heart, too, to be able to step back and say, why do I do what I do? And so I just want to be really transparent with you. I actually, a few weeks ago, if you don't know, I've been in a course with my church, becoming a certified minister. I have a lot of homework and different things that I have to do with that, but a lot of it is just spending time with the Lord and spending time in His Word. And one of the themes I think we're seeing in church as a whole right now is God is doing a cleansing of the body. He's doing a cleansing of churches. So much exposure is happening. And one of the things I really felt highlighted is that we needed to really check our hearts, that we needed to operate out of a place of a pure heart. We needed to um, be able to be humble before the Lord and being able to lead. If you're a leader in your church, if you're a leader of any organization, to walk in that purity of the Lord. And then I was reading Proverbs over the last week, and one of the things that God kept highlighting to me was, do you have the fear of the Lord? What does it look like to have the fear of the Lord? And as I was looking it up, I took some notes here. um, the fear of the Lord is to have a deep, profound reverence, awe, and respect for God's holiness, power, and majesty. It means turning away from evil, recognizing God's greatness and His right to be honored above all else, which results in confidence and trust, not paralyzing fear. And it involves living in a way that pleases Him, submitting to His will, and understanding His moral standards, which actually brings security and a full life. Um, this week has been so challenging, and I just actually came across Proverbs 20:24, and it says, "The Lord directs our steps, so why try to understand everything along the way?" And I feel like that is how I'm feeling this week of like, okay, God, you direct my steps, and I don't understand why this is all happening, but you direct everything along the way. Um yeah, why try to understand it? Because ultimately, He's going to take you where He wants to take you. If you know me, if you watched any of the videos from me, you know that one of the things I will not compromise is walking in obedience to the Lord. When He says go, I will go. When He says stay, I will stay. If He told me to shut this down tomorrow, I would not even hesitate to do that. And there was times this week that I honestly thought God was maybe taking us into a place of shutting us down. And it's taken a lot of just crying out to the Lord and asking for wisdom, asking Him for understanding. And so a little bit about what's happened this week. So obviously we are a business. We collect fees for our memberships. We charge for events. this is what helps us function as an organization. If we didn't have membership fees come in, we wouldn't be able to pay the people that work for us. If we didn't have the fees to the events and just let everyone go for free, well, there's a lot of reasons why we charge for events, but we wouldn't be able to pay our hosts. We wouldn't be able to pay our event manager. And so we are an organization that does charge for its services. We have since probably the first probably 9 or 10 months of starting the Christian Singles Hub. I never charged for anything, and then one day I really felt that I was supposed to, and so here we are. And the resources that have continued to come in by people buying memberships and coming to the events and coming to different things that we offer has really sustained us to keep going, which has been amazing to see that the Lord has always provided. He's never not provided, but I believe that if you do work from the Lord, you should absolutely get paid for it. So that being said, we at this point we've always had membership fees. Right now they're annually, and this week our payment processor decided to boot us off their platform. And I mean, when I say boot us off the platform, they are literally pausing our payments and our payouts in 1 week and shutting us down. So, with obviously almost 600 members in this community, that is extremely stressful, extremely heart wrenching, because that is a massive portion of our resources to help sustain us in what we're doing. And there was a lot of, again, crying out to the Lord and saying, God, do you want me to close down? Is that where you're leading us to? And it's not as easy as just jumping over to another platform, because you can't just you can't just automatically move most things over. But also, if you go, this could just happen again. So basically, this past week has been extremely stressful in just, okay, God, where do we go from here? What does this look like? Because we're in literally 1 week, all our payments stop for our memberships. And at the end of the day, we have people to pay. Like, Colleen does an amazing job as the events manager. We need to pay her for working for us. Our hosts, we need to pay them. Brooke, she's been working with us for 5 years. We need to pay her. Our just our team in general. And so it's been really heart wrenching, because obviously that is a huge part of the resources that come into this community. And as I kept feeling that, okay, God, am I just supposed to shut down the hub? What does that look like? And then I just kept feeling and going back to, like, God specifically highlighted this year that we were to get our systems in order, and we were to get structures in place, and we were to get everything in order to be able to sustain the growth that's coming. So if we're supposed to get everything in order, then it doesn't make sense to shut down. And so that was kind of confirmation that, okay, God, we're not supposed to shut down. But then, um, second test of this all. So I reached out to a friend of mine who used to do a lot of business coaching for us, and just very smart man of God who, yeah, just runs businesses. He has a lot of connections. And I just said, hey, here is what we're dealing with. Do you know someone who may have a solution? What does that look like? And he said, this actually happened to another client of mine. So this is not just a you thing, this is happening across the board. And I said, well, okay, that makes me feel better, but also still stressful. So he introduced me to a person who does payment processing, and I got on a call with him, and it all sounded great. We because Two reasons, because we are dealing with dating, singles, and also because we do things on a membership basis. We are considered a high risk business. So that's why we're having issues apparently with our payment processor. And that's why if we just switched over, we would more than likely get booted off as well, other platforms. So after talking to this guy, and he was telling us, it's high risk business, so I'd recommend going with this company, and we can get it all moved over for you, and it's all going to be great. And the fees are just more, which I'm like, okay, whatever, it's fine as long as this is a solution and we're able to get switched over. And so I was like so relieved because I thought, okay, this is the end of my problems. I can get this all switched over. It seems like it's going to be pretty seamless. We can actually get automatically everything switched over. So it's not manually one by one. And then the paperwork came through and he messaged me and said, hey, Michelle, I sent you the paperwork. If you can sign it so we can continue on, that would be great. So I go start going through the paperwork. And this is where the true testing came into play. So we were listed as a dating and escort services. When I tell you that my stomach literally dropped, like my heart dropped into my stomach, and I immediately messaged him and I said, I cannot do this. And he was like, let me call you. And so he called me and he's like, I went back to them 3 times, but because you work with singles, it has to be labeled this. There's no other way. And I said, okay, well, I need to go back and just pray about this. And but I knew immediately. I didn't need to go pray about it because what did I just read you about the fear of the Lord? It involves living in a way that pleases him, submitting to his will and understanding his moral standards. And so I got off the phone with him and I just immediately, almost immediately, I asked my husband, I'm like, Douglas, what do we do? I said, they were literally telling me this is the only way. What do we do? And he said, we need to pray. We need to pray about it. And so, I mean, again, I didn't need to pray about it. I knew at the end of the day, the question that popped in my head was, does this glorify the Lord? And the answer is absolutely not. And so I went back to him and I said, look, if there is no other way, I simply cannot proceed. And he tried to reason with me. He tried to come back and say, well, this, nobody's going to see it. I don't care if nobody sees it. I'm going to see it. I'm going to know it. God's going to know it. I live for an audience of one. And at the end of the day, my fear of the Lord has to be higher than my fear of other people. And so I just told him no. And he, again, kept coming back. He came back and said, well, you don't have to be offended. It's just how the system works. I said, this is not about offense. This is about my conviction and doing everything in this business that glorifies the Lord. And if it doesn't glorify the Lord, I won't do it. And again, he kept trying to come back and reason. Well, all the other dating apps, it doesn't matter if they're Christian or not. They are labeled as this. So basically, it's your credit card has a code. So basically, every time someone bought something from us with their credit card, it shows that they bought something from a dating and escort services, which is an absolute no from me. What kept popping in my head is like, when I built this business, I vowed to do it with integrity, with honor, with respect, and with the fear of the Lord. And I will not settle for anything less. I will not bow down to some standards that a credit card companies have that are, he was saying, well, they're outdated. They haven't, they made these back in the day when dating sites didn't exist, and so that's what they labeled it as. And I said, I don't care. At the end of the day, and it was funny because, and I don't know if this man is Christian, but he just kept coming back trying to reason with me and trying to say, like, this is the only way. And I said, I would rather give up this entire business than do anything that does not glorify the Lord. I would rather close down tomorrow. It doesn't matter, and it was really testing for me. And I think it was really like I stepped back in that moment and I said, wow, I am here with pure intentions, because sometimes when you're in a business, when you run a business, you're just in the day to day. You're like focused. You don't really like step back and think about those things. Like, why do I do what I do? You are just kind of in the thick of it. And so it really made me step back and go, wow, I'm not here for success, because again, God literally tested me. Will you bow down to culture, or will you stand on your convictions and say, I will give up everything? If it doesn't glorify the Lord, I don't want it. I don't want it. And so that's kind of left us in a pickle, to be honest, because now if we go with another payment processor, chances are they're probably going to label us the same, which I refuse to do. But if we go with one we can set up ourselves, we are probably going to get flagged as a business and end up, back at square one. And so yeah, as I was just pressing in and praying, and one of the things that came up for me was, what if we changed what the Christian Singles Hub looks like? And some people are not going to like this. And but I'm honestly at a point where I feel like with all of these payments ending up just stopped and having to resubscribe people, we're going to lose people anyways. So, if they're not meant to be here anymore, they're not meant to be here, and God will make a way regardless, one way or the other. But I started toying with the idea of the community aspect of the hub no longer being the Christian Singles Hub, but changing it to the Christian Social Club or Social Hub, the Christian Social Hub. So it's no longer serving just singles, but is serving the body of Christ and creating environments that not only people can get to know other Christians, but also be in community with like minded individuals. And it's not based on your relationship status. Because I'll tell you this, my intention from day one has never been to single out your relationship status, but to truly point you to Jesus and create environments that Jesus is in the center of, because you're not your relationship status. You are not, I think that's one thing that we have seen as singles organization is people want to box you into, you are your relationship status, and you're absolutely not. You are daughters and sons of the King of Kings. And so I don't know exactly what this is going to look like, or this transition. This is something that I'm going to have to lean on the Lord for every step of the way, because just like I told you that verse in Proverbs, why try to figure out everything? Because you don't know. God's going to direct your steps. But I think this is something that we need to do in order to maintain our integrity, to maintain honor, to maintain respect, and to do everything we can that glorifies the Lord first and foremost. So this is probably going to take months to figure out and to transition. um, so if this is something you're like, I don't care to be a part of a social hub, I wanted to be a part of a singles community, and if this is no longer a singles community, I don't want to be a part of it, then you have a couple months, and then we wish you the best of luck, because we want to see you thrive with Jesus and thrive in relationships with other people. Um, and so I don't have a lot of answers. I don't have all the answers right now. One of the things that, when I was thinking this, Douglas was upstairs spending time with the Lord, and he came downstairs. And when I told him this, he immediately said, I was just thinking about that. I was just thinking about what if we switched the name to not be about singles? And then I immediately called Colleen, because she's in the thick of this just as much as I am. She's been with us for so long, and she's been someone who we've had consistent alignment with, and she confirmed it as well. She confirmed that this is a direction that she felt that we were going in as well. And so I don't take this lightly. And as singles, I do not want you to feel overlooked, because we're changing things, because you've been overlooked enough. You have been overlooked enough. And this is not my heart to overlook you or to make you feel less than. But this is my heart of, I cannot do anything if it's not built on integrity and the fear of the Lord. And if it means that we're transitioning and we're moving things and we're pivoting, then that's what I need to do. But this is not my heart to make you feel like, oh, here it is, we're abandoned again, or we're overlooked again, or we're isolated again. That is not my heart. because my heart has always been to ensure that you all feel like you have a safe place and a safe space, that you can be yourselves, you can thrive in Christian community, and you can be pointed to Jesus. And honestly, and some of you know that Douglas and I just moved to a new city, and one of the things that I've been noticing, even like I'm married, but they have nothing that I can go out and meet Christian community. I mean, I'm getting involved in different organizations that are really great at doing social things, but am I meeting people that sharpen me? Am I meeting people that have the same values and morals as I am? Maybe, but maybe not. And so by opening this up, it just allows more people to be less isolated and more connected. But I just want you to hear my heart, that I am not trying to overlook you, and I'm not trying to put you in with everyone else and not focus on you. I simply need to follow the Lord and where He's leading us. And so I invite you that if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you want to talk, that's what our team is here for. We want to hear your hearts, but I hope that you do hear ours and hear mine, that I'm not doing this to forget about you. I'm doing this to walk in obedience to the Lord. And so I thank you for tuning into this video, to taking time to actually meditate on this and what I'm saying before you respond. Take time in prayer if you're still supposed to be here. Because at the end of the day, I am just me. I am not, I don't make up this community. I just started it. And you all make up this community, and I'm so grateful that you're here. And I want everything for you. I want so much for you. And so I don't think that this is going to be something that takes away from what we're already doing, but simply adds to it. Because I think it's a beautiful thing when we can get around people in different seasons of life, and we can get around people that will sharpen us, that we can create more experiences. I think of, even our trips right now. So many people don't want to sign up because they're like, well, maybe I won't be single in a year's time. Well, now if we change it into a social group, people aren't even going to feel that way. They're going to sign up. They're going to get in community. I think of our events and different things that we offer and do. That's been so much, like even people getting married in our community, and they're saying, well, what happens to me now that I'm married? I can't be a part of community anymore. It's like this just opens it up, and that doesn't mean that we're not going to have spaces for singles. We absolutely will continue always to have spaces where singles can have unfiltered, vulnerable discussions about things that they're going through. This is just going to open us up to offer and have even more. And so, um, yeah, I just want to ask for prayer from our community um, during this time, during this transition, during this pivot. As you can see, it has not been an easy week for me. It has been really trying and really testing, and constantly going back and forth. Am I doing the right thing? And Lord, you need to show me, because I don't want to do anything that hinders people, but really propels them into all that God has for them. And I believe that opening up to this other avenue will absolutely do that. And so thank you so much for tuning into this video. Thank you for your support in this community. And I just pray that you allow God to direct you and to lead you and to guide you. And I pray that the fear of the Lord enhances across this whole community, that you don't step out of alignment. I feel like the fall of so many people getting exposed right now, really that has to do with they did not have the fear of the Lord. Because if they had the fear of the Lord, those things that they are getting exposed for would have never happened. Because the fear of the Lord stops you in your tracks to say, no, I cannot. That makes me want to be sick, because I have the fear of the Lord in me, and I cannot do something that does not honor my Father. And so I just pray that over every single one of you right now, that that fear of the Lord enhances. We need more people with the fear of the Lord, because maybe we'd have less fallen leaders if the fear of the Lord was so heavy in different places. And so yeah, I don't even know how to end this video, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of what we've done, and I cannot wait to see what God is doing, because if he's pivoting us, there's a reason for it. And if he's transitioning us, there's a reason for it. And so um yeah, I just pray he blesses you, and I thank you for watching.